Can the Lydian chromatic concept be simplified for easier understanding? Have you ever wondered if the Lydian chromatic concept can be made easier to grasp? This fascinating idea, created by George Russell in the 1950s, changes how we think about harmony in jazz. Instead of relying on the traditional major scale, Russell puts the Lydian mode front and center. This approach can seem complex, but there are ways to break it down for better understanding. At its core, the Lydian chromatic concept uses the Lydian mode as its foundation. For example, in the key of C, the Lydian scale consists of the notes C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, and B. This scale is considered more stable than the major scale. The major scale has a natural fourth note, which can create tension. In contrast, the Lydian scale's raised fourth note avoids this clash, giving it a more floating feel. This allows musicians to focus more on melody, rather than strict chord relationships. To simplify this concept, we can look at a few key ideas. First, there's tonal gravity. In the Lydian scale, notes resolve downward by perfect fits. For instance, F sharp resolves to B and B resolves to E. This natural pull can guide how musicians phrase their melodies. Next, we can differentiate between vertical and horizontal scales. Vertical scales, like the Lydian and Lydian dominant, align with specific chords and highlight harmonic colors. On the other hand, horizontal scales, such as auxiliary diminished, create movement across chord changes. Musicians can start by using the Lydian mode over static major chords, like C Lydian over C major 7. This helps them internalize the sound before trying other scales. Another important aspect is modal freedom. The Lydian chromatic concept encourages musicians to view chords as starting points instead of limitations. A single Lydian scale can be used over multiple chords that share the same tonal center. This reduces the need to switch scales frequently. In practical terms, the Lydian chromatic concept aligns well with modal jazz, which emphasizes scales over chord changes. Notable musicians, such as Miles Davis, have used similar ideas in their work, especially in the album Kind of Blue. Simplifying the concept allows musicians to use the Lydian mode as a default for major chords. For dominant chords, the Lydian dominant scale can be applied. While simplifying the Lydian chromatic concept makes it more accessible, it is important to remember that this approach may overlook some of Russell's deeper theories. These include tonal gravity and chromatic parent scales. However, focusing on Lydian-based improvisation can serve as a stepping stone to more advanced ideas. In summary, yes, the Lydian chromatic concept can be simplified by focusing on its Lydian-centered view of harmony, tonal gravity, and modal flexibility. Jazz musicians can adopt its core ideas without needing to master its full complexity. This makes it easier to inform scale choices and melodic phrasing in both modal and chordal contexts.